What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and this is a rapid reaction to the death of Gene Okerlund. I just woke up. I finally got like some really good sleep, and one of the things about doing like this, like well, I never I won't go into it because this is not about me. But when I woke up about 20 minutes ago, and right now it's about 12:30. So 12:30. Um, I woke up to the unfortunate thing on my phone from ESPN saying that Gene Okerlund had died today. And before I read what the ESPN writer Tim Fioravanti wrote, let's give my thoughts on Gene Okerlund. And I thought he was one of the best. He was always one of the best. He could tell that story along with, with the wrestler when he was doing the interview, when he was doing the promo. And if it was a good guy, he could be there and guide him along and let him and get him and help him get his message across to the fans. And if he was with a bad guy, he could be that that buffer. Hey, wait a minute, you can't say that. You really mean And he would go out there and he stood by and he was a part of some of the craziest promos with him, with Savage, and with Warrior back in the day in the WWF. And um and sometimes you just stood there, you just like, well, I'm gonna let them let both, let either one, whoever it was, Savage or Warrior, I'm just let them ramble. And he was a part of so many big things. He's also part of so many big bloopers as well. If you go back and you find like the bloopers, the thing falls in in the background, and then he goes fuck. And then there's this one where he can't stop laughing. I think he's doing an interview with Sergeant Slaughter, and he just can't stop laughing. He really can't. He just can't stop laughing for some reason. And then of course there was some really good stuff there, and he was one of the major talent raids Vince McMahon did back in the early '80s from the AWA. Think about it. Heenan was in the AWA. He got Bobby Heenan. Hogan was in the AWA. He went and he brought in Hulk Hogan. Um, Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig was in the AWA. He went and got Kurt Hennig. And so was Gene Okerlund. Gene Okerlund was in the AWA, and he went and he got him too. And there was many more he went and got, but he started in the AWA, and for the longest time he was what interviewers were. I think over time interviewers have changed, obviously, because the interviewers are seemingly just there. It's almost like they're just to be there now. It's almost like what it is. They're just there, and most of them are females, and in the WWE at least, Charlie Caruso, Kayla Braxton, Dasha Fuentes, and probably one more I'm forgetting, but it seem to be women. They seem to be there. They either seem to be there just for their looks, or they seem to be there just. It used to be Renee Young. Renee Young is on commentary, and Charlie Caruso was actually on ESPN. She was on ESPN earlier this week, filling in for Molly Kim um, on First Take. So that was interesting to see. But yeah, but I think the world of interviewer has changed from when Gene Okerlund was around. I remember a year or so ago he came back for that interview with AJ Styles, and that was pretty interesting. And then he had the really quick when WCW and was bought by WWE. He had came back for that show that was on TNN called WWE Confidential. Oh, I love that show. That's a show that I would like to see come back. Something like that. I really would. I would like to see something like that come back into into the fold. A show like WWE Confidential. Now, no, it's not something that is, and that was for network, not for the WWE network. Well, now they kind of, now they kind of do those things now, and they do them now where they go they talk to them and stuff like that, and it was kind of kayfabe, and it was almost like 15% kayfabe, 85% non-kayfabe. They would go into detail. That's when people who at least were skeptical truly found out the truth about the whatever the hell that is, the the thing is Survivor Series. I can't when Sean screwed Brett and Vince screwed Brett. I can't. Montreal screwed you. I can't believe I'm getting. Oh, I'm almost 37. I'm in 37 next Friday, and I can't believe it. Anyway, but yeah, that's where most people really find out that Sean knew about it, and then they told the world. I think it was 6 or 7 people who knew about it. Vince, Sean, Hunter, Gerald Briscoe knew because he said that if Brett tries to shoot on him, he could find some ways to get out of it. Obviously, what's his name? Earl Hebner knew. I think Pat Patterson knew, and probably I think China may have known too. I don't know, but the whole DX thing. But that's just the way it was. So, but anyway, yeah. Let me go ahead and just read this piece from Tim Fioravanti from ESPN. Mean Gene Okerlund, the iconic WWE backstage interviewer, played a role in some of the biggest moments in pro wrestling history, has died. The WWE announced Wednesday he was 76. Okerlund stood next to the likes of Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Randy Macho Man Savage, Andre the Giant, the Ultimate Warrior, and many others from the mid to late 80s, and teed up the stars of that era to deliver some of their most memorable promos. In the mid 90s, Okerlund moved to rival WCW and stood in the ring as garbage rained down upon Hogan as he formed the NWO. That is true. He was. And again, he was in there, and he started to. He was the one that was like the conduit from the fans to the wrestler and vice versa, because he was in there, he couldn't believe it, and he was wagging his finger at Hogan, as a lot of us was. How could you, Hulk? Um, a voice and a soundtrack to an entire era of our industry. He was the star of some of WWE's most memorable segments. WWE Executive Vice President Paul Triple H Levesque said on Twitter on Wednesday, "Mean Gene was beloved by all who got to work with him. Our thoughts are with his family at this difficult time." I think he's got some guys from some wrestling stars, including Hogan, remembered Oakland with posts on social media. And Hogan put, "Mean Gene, I love your brother. Ric Flair, one of my closest friends since 1972. Until this very sad day in 2019. Not only the greatest voice and personality in the history of announcing, but a man who touched everybody's life who were fortunate enough to know him. Rest in peace, knowing no one would ever replace you." Good old JR. So sad to hear about the sudden passing of my dear friend at the Gene Oakland. I saw Mean Gene in North Carolina at WrestleCade. It is so true that our tomorrows are never guaranteed. Say hello to Jan, Mean Gene. Jan was Jim Ross's wife. Some of you may remember she lost her life in a very difficult car accident. I believe it was last year. Steve Austin. Just heard Mean Gene Oakland has passed away. As an interviewer, pitchman, announcer, or host, he was untouchable. Simply the best. Total professional, quick wit, sarcasm, humor, and that golden voice. Condolences to his family and friends. Jerry Lawler. So sad to hear the passing of our friend Mean Gene Oakland. I always remember Gene with a smile on his face and a drink in his hand, and always wanting to help. He was the voice of the WWE. Rest in peace, Gene. Okerlund returned to WWE fold upon the closing of WCW in a variety of roles and appearances. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006 by Hulk Hogan. Hogan's last WWE appearance came on January 22, 2018, when he appeared on the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw and interviewed then WWE champion AJ Styles. Yeah, and that's what I was just talking about a minute ago. That's the article ends there, and it's once again just it's just kind of amazing what's going on, man, and I just you know. I mean, he was one of a kind, and like I mentioned, and and again, I'm not trying to disparage anybody in the WWE or any other organization, but I've never seen an interviewer that could do what Gene Okerlund did, and it was just carry on the storyline from each perspective. Once again, if he was talking to a good guy, and he could, you know. He would be excited, and then Warrior would, and that's the ultimate warrior. He would go running out. He would go, whoa, Warrior, ready for that. Back to you, back to you, man. You know, and he would do all those other things, or like again, like you talked about with Hogan. He was wagging his finger at Hogan. How could you do this? All this stuff in the ring, I think is what these people think about you. And and that's what. And that's what it really was. And I was, and when you think about it and you go back on it, he was really, truly a true legend. And I remember he called the him and Bobby Heenan called the gimmick battle royal at WrestleMania 17. I think if y'all remember that one was pretty funny. And yeah, when he came back, like I said, he had just been one of the greats. He's also like, and he's still a pop culture legend. He was in a recent Kevin Hart commercial. When Kevin Hart was doing a commercial for something, and he was pretending to be a wrestler. Gene Okerlund was the one that was interviewing him, if you remember. So once again, thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends and the fans of Gene Okerlund. He will be missed, and he was without question, the best interviewer of all time. And when it comes to professional wrestling, so rest in peace, Gene. See you on the other side.